Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode slash video on this channel slash podcast. Whether you're listening or watching me, welcome back or welcome. And today we are going to be talking about a very scary word, especially when it comes to my community, communities of color, because we have very negative stigmas about this and about our mental health in general. We're going to be talking about therapy. I know. Now I'm just playing, but not really. Not really. Because raise your hand if you come from a you don't need therapy type of family, whether it's you don't need therapy like that's a myth, whether it's you don't need therapy, you need God or Jesus or religion or prayer, or it's just like you don't need therapy because it doesn't work. Whatever excuse your families have or people have, it's an excuse, right? But I feel like a lot of people come from families where therapy isn't like normal. Maybe you don't know anyone who's ever done therapy, or you kind of just hear stuff about it, one of those excuses. So you're kind of just like, but you want to know, is it worth it? And you have came to the correct channel to find out. As a girl who was the second person in her family to go to therapy and has been to two different therapists for two different reasons and is currently in therapy right now. So let's talk about it. I'm 21 years old. The first time I tried therapy, I was 19. And I tried therapy because I had just gone through my first heartbreak. Y'all know that one. That first real one where you really thought y'all were going to be together forever and have a house and a dog and kids. And I got done pretty dirty, okay? I feel like young loves have a lot of different normal, well, not normal, but common endings. Growing apart, whatever, blah blah blah, hurting each other. Mine was lots of lies until the person couldn't take it anymore and burst and told me all the truths about all these lies and was like, "Oh yeah, and I don't want to be with you anymore." Blindsided me, like blindsided, but not really. Y'all know when you're like, "Girl, you could have seen that coming." Like he was literally being mean to you, and like, how did you not feel it? Not that it's our job to like scope out people's dishonesty and stuff, but like if I had better self worth, I could have seen it coming. But still, if you've been there before, you know that it is a very, very humbling experience. Having your trust broken in general, I feel like is very hard to deal with alone. And a lot of people don't deal with it, which is why they just move on and implant their problems on other people who ain't did anything. I was in that situation literally in the next relationship. But I also went in because my relationship with my mom was terrible. Raise your hand if, as you got older, things with your parents got worse, especially the parent that you were closest to. I feel like that is a very common experience too that sent me into shock. And I was like, wow. And so, yeah, my sister had gone to therapy for her issues maybe like a couple years before had started it. And yeah, so my family was just like, why don't you try it, Alicia? And I had that very common thing. Like before my sister went to therapy, I feel like therapy was kind of laughable in my family. Well, not maybe from my dad, but I feel like probably from my mom and like other people just like, oh, what do you need that for? Like, But I feel like thankfully because my sister was in it, like my family is actually the people who encouraged me to go at this point in my life. It wasn't like a stigma. But I just had that typical like, nah, like I can do this. I don't need this. I don't need professional help. Like I just had that ego, which I feel like when some people don't even have the surrounding problems, sometimes it can literally just be the ego. I was like, I don't need that. I don't need that. Until I was like, what else am I going to do? Sit here and rot for more days and not eat and think about, like, I was just like, okay, I'm broke, single, depressed for the first time in my life. I was like, why not? Okay, why not? And so I went. And I feel like many other people, I feel like I had the first typical impression where I was just like, okay. Like after the first thing, it's like, okay, where's the magic? Why are my problems magically fixed? Like, ha, this doesn't work. I already went twice and nothing happened. I'm still depressed. And yeah, so what? That's what I thought at first. I was just like, it's okay. Like, I'm just talking about it, but I could talk about it with anyone, blah, blah, blah. That's the first mistake if you're going to try it, y'all. It's not overnight. Okay, like nothing is. They're not a wizard who's going to come in and cast a spell, but it does take time. Okay, so I was in therapy at 19 for about 6 months. And although I went in for heartbreak and family issues, I was still living with the family that was the issue. And that was the hardest part. I'm like, I'm depressed over this heartbreak, and then I'm fighting and I'm not feeling safe in my house, and this, and that. And whenever people ask me, like, do you recommend therapy? What do you think about it? I'm always going to say yes. And you know why? It's because, like I said, they're not a wizard that is going to come in and whoop, change your situation, give you a magical outcome, but they are a trained professional that it's like a teacher, like that's going to give you tools on how to strengthen your mind and go about life differently that'll make it easier even if you can't change your situation immediately. And that is exactly what therapy did for me that first time. I just learned in therapy specific tools of like, I'm living with the issue. I don't feel good in this house. I feel like any little thing just sends me off the edge right now, being depressed and being in this vulnerable state. But being in therapy, like, I don't know, I just would talk about with her. And, like, thankfully, a lot of times I feel like you can relate to your therapist a lot. I don't know about everyone, but that's been my thing, even if it's like just on something. And yeah, I just got tools on how to deal with it. So I'm like, okay, any little jab the issue in my house throws at me, or I see I'm not being treated the same or whatever, it's like it wouldn't just send me off the edge and make me depressed for the rest of the day anymore, because I learned tools on better self-esteem, how to look at things, and how to just like choose my battles, so that like the issue wasn't resolved, but it was just like, I don't know, I just was able to go about it calmer and like assure myself and be like, this is my situation. I'm not getting out of it soon, but I know what to do for a peace of mind so I don't lose my mind every day now. So it helped 100%. I feel like another thing people are scared of is they're like, I feel like if I go to therapy, I'm not going to have something to talk about all the time. Oh, yes, you will. Y'all, yes, you will. You will. Life is always lifing. And the thing about therapy too, and talking to trained professionals, is you realize everything is connected. You realize where it started, why you felt this way, and then you're like, oh, let's get into that. That connects to that. I kid you not, y'all. I've had two different therapists. I was in therapy for like 6 months at 19, then I stopped, and now I'm at 21. I've gone for like another 6 months. So in the whole year of having two different therapists, there's only been one time where I was like, yeah, I actually don't know what I want to talk about today. And the one time I didn't know, she whipped out like this thing that was basically just like an overview of what I came for, where she was just like asking these questions, and she was really seeing my answers and seeing how much I learned like about my own self-esteem and worth. And it was just like a really good conversation. Like, it wasn't silent. Now it might be silent or awkward maybe if you're like an awkward person, which is normal, like just like going on a first date, you might not click immediately, or meeting a new friend. Like if you're shy, it might be kind of quiet or awkward, because you do realize like this is someone you don't know, that like you're telling all your business, that you're just supposed to tell all your business to. That's not always easy or comfortable. And the thing is, like, they get it too, so don't be scared of that. They're trained professionals, and if they don't get it, they shouldn't be there. Okay. Now when it comes to therapy that I'm in right now, I started in about February, and as of today it is July. Like, towards, I want to say like October through January, I was dealing with really, really bad anxiety. Um, that I've never felt like this kind of before. I'm talking about getting like 3 hours of sleep, chest hurting all day, panicking almost to the point where I pass out, like hyperventilating that bad, just always feeling like nervous or worried or just blah blah. And this is all because basically my last relationship was abusive sexually and emotionally. And you guys know how a lot of times we hear about sexual trauma and we hear how people don't register it later. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. Like I there was lots of instances where I didn't feel uncomfortable, and I told this person no. They did not listen to me. They violated me. Also, just a lot of harassment. Like if it wasn't violating me because I said no, it was yelling at me or getting mad at me or being rude to me for saying no. And like of course, like I went through all this stuff, but it's like, when you're in love with someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt. So you're like, I know that wasn't, but was it that, or was it that? You always make excuses when you're in love. But when I was out of love, about 2 or 3 months leaving that relationship, I registered all that. I started having flashbacks, panics, nightmares about being assaulted again. I was like, oh, so I was doubting myself this whole time, but it really was that. Because why? Like, why am I thinking about this at 3 p.m. on a random Thursday and panicking and my chest hurting? And sometimes even, I don't know, like some people say this is some spiritual shit, but sometimes I feel like even feeling the memories of violation, having trouble with having pain with tampons and stuff like that I didn't have before, which I heard is very true for survivors. And I was just like, oh. And I held it in for a long time, but I think after about a month I finally told my dad. I started slowly telling my family and stuff like that. And I was just having a bad, panicking, just chest hurting, feeling out of breath and tired and stuff like every single day. And again, my family, why don't you try therapy again? Why don't you try this? And again, I was like, ah. Eventually, I was like, okay, I'm tired of feeling freaked out all the time. Let me go ahead and give this a shot. And so I did. And again, y'all, not off the bat, not automatically, boom, perfect switch. But again, just learning certain tools on like, my therapist, she's not going to come in here and be able to sit with me through every panic attack or make them go away. But she gave me so many tools on how to deal with my anxiety, like self affirmations, like this activity where you look around at your senses to like ground yourself, because just a lot of times when people go through SA, your mind and body feel disconnected because of the trauma. And that's definitely what it was for me. Because like I could be having a normal day, but like my body's still panicking about it, like in the back of my head, when it's like nothing's even here, nothing's a reminder. And I may panic and have anxiety every once in a while because that's life. And this life is tricky and this world sucks, no matter what you're going through. But it is so much better, y'all. So basically, my ex abuser that I used to be with lives like in my county when they're not out of state for school. Um, so like a 30-minute drive for me. And so it's like close to me, but it's not close, right? But anytime I would be in that area, panic, y'all. Like literally my heart racing. I always like scanning the area, afraid of seeing him, afraid of him seeing me, just like looking for anyone who slightly looks with these features. Dark skins, tall, super skin. Like I feel like freak out if I saw any like similar build, because like what if it's him? What if it's him? What if it's him? I mean, places where like knowing who I used to be with, like why would he even be there? Or sometimes being there when I'm like, realistically, if I think about it, he's probably out of state of school, but like my chest still hurts, my heart is still going do 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 do, like, and like it's so weird. It's so weird, y'all. I mean, it's not weird because it's very normal to be afraid of someone who used to abuse you and violate your body. It's very normal, but Okay, I'm sorry. I play too much when it goes to my trauma. And so I used to feel that way after the breakup every single time I was out there. And this isn't normal, y'all. Like, I know I've been separated from that person for over a year. And I know sometimes with breakups, it's like tricky to see people just because of feelings and stuff. It's literally not that, y'all. Like, it's the trauma, it's literal fear. Because I have another ex, the first one I went to therapy over. Where I don't feel scared being in that area. I'm not really worried about seeing him because he didn't abuse me in that type of way. Even if he may not have been the best partner, like I can tell the difference with like my fear over this. And also that was another thing. I was just tired of feeling that way. I was like, no. Like, I might want to come up here to this area and get this certain restaurant and come by myself. And that's the thing, I was always with people when I went, but I was like, I'm going to come by myself and not be scared. And like, you know? And so I was like, I just wanted to like take my power back. And like, that's why I went. And y'all, what I tell you, last month, my friend had a graduation party in that area. And that was like my immediate thought. I was like, I'm going there by myself and like, it's summer. Like I was just thinking it was gonna be like all the other times. I was like, my chest is probably gonna hurt. I'm probably gonna be all worried the whole time and stuff. And y'all, I was not. I was not. I had a normal heart rate. I enjoyed my time. I wasn't worried, even though I was like alone. Well, not alone at the party, but like I was alone up there. Um, and I was fully able to enjoy and celebrate my friend and live in the present moment. And how I was not able to do that like 5 months ago because of my anxiety. And I literally told my therapist, thank you, because the tools that she has given me on how to deal with my panic attacks, how to think about these situations, and how to realize how all these things are connected and how my body and mind is disconnected and all these things. I can't look that up. My dad can't tell me that. I needed a trained professional and it worked. Like I was finally able, like don't get me wrong, I still have fear. I'm probably always going to have a little bit because of what happened to me. I'm human. I'm gonna have a panic attack every now and then. You know, I'm gonna be affected by stuff because, like, it's never gonna fully go away. You know, it's my experience. But I truly feel like I learned how to take my power back and, like, I have less anxiety now, y'all. I really, really do. So if you're gonna ask, is therapy worth it, even though it's expensive? I'll be honest, y'all. The first therapist I went to was like $80 a session. The second one is like 150. So it is expensive. It is expensive, but you know, sometimes there's deals with insurance and stuff. Look at all your options. There's online. I go to people like in real life both times, but you know, I know there's more resources out there. So if you have the opportunity and you want to try it, y'all, I say yes. But again, I come with these reminders, these things. One, it's not going to be an instant click connection, quick fix. Okay? It's just not. Because nothing is. It takes time. If you're learning your therapist, you have to this. Um, and then two, I think that you should also go when you're ready. Because you have to give your therapist something to work with. You can't go there and not give, you know, everything and like expect, you know, like I literally didn't even describe an exact memory to my therapist until maybe like 2 months in. Cause obviously she knows that like she's a stranger to me. I don't want to just come in and jump right into it. Like y'all, the first session, they might just ask you about yourself. How old are you? What do you do for work? What do you like? Like it's not as scary as it sounds, y'all. Don't be intimidated, anyone, but especially my community. Don't be intimidated, Black people. And the third thing, like I said, it is not going to fix your problems, but it is going to give you the tools on how to handle things better. Like, you know how some people say with things like death or breakups, they're like, oh, every time it gets easier. That's BS. It doesn't get easier, but when you go through things more, and you use your resources, you have better tools on how to deal with it. So yes, it might not be as soul crushing and affect you as hard as it did the first time, but that's not because it's easier. It's because you have more knowledge and you have the tools on how to get through it. And I think that's what it does. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments if you guys have tried therapy, what your experience is, how you feel about it, how you're feeling about it after this video. I love to know. I love to chat. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to me yap and talk once again. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.